You are an American and work in a low-power dimension culture. You have an idea for a business proposal and discussed it with your colleagues. You feel that exporting this idea to India will be great, so you correspond with the same level employee in India. You email back and forth and you both agree it would be a great idea. So you fly to India together and nobody seems to notice you. They all seem to have forgotten that you set up all these meetings and plans. A few days in India, and someone a couple of levels higher than you approaches you and tells you that nobody told him that you were here and wants to know all about your proposal. Then you realize that this is the person who had the power to decide whether or not to accept your proposal. Welcome to India, a country with a high power distance. This means that there is a hierarchy where objectives come down from managers to employees, and employees look up to managers for tasks. As opposed to a low-power distance culture where subordinates are expected and solicited by supervisors for their opinions and suggestions. In a high-power distance culture, employees do not give or suggest opinions to those higher in hierarchy than them. To do business in India, you must get your boss to communicate with the Indian boss to get approval for a project, so that those at the same level as you will have the authority to work on a project with you. In fact, when communicating with your Indian counterparts, it is good to CC their boss. This makes them feel that you are letting their boss know about the work that they are doing and how he is contributing to the company. Welcome to India, a high-power distance culture.
From Manila to India, the Indian culture. Another Hofstede cultural dimension in understanding workplace value is masculinity. India favors more of a masculine society, indicating that the society will be driven by competition, achievement, and success. This difference in gender preference gives a big gap in their role in the society.
But here are 3 things to know about this particular case. The first is that the root of the problem goes much deeper than violence against women. In India, girls are valued less than boys, And this results in many inequalities in society. Girls attend school at much lower rates than boys. And today the literacy rate is only 50% for women, whereas it's closer to 75% for men. Girls and women experience lower rates of nutrition, health, access to school and education, and female sex-selective abortion is rampant in the country, and today you only have around 914 girls per every 1,000 boys. And so you can see from some of these statistics that the problem runs quite deep in society.
About being a woman in India today.
So what I hate about being a woman in India is the gender stereotyping, which is so huge. I just hate that. Girls can't do this, and these are meant only for boys. I hate it.
What I dislike about being a woman in India is that you are not considered a unit. A woman in most parts of India is expected to conform to someone else's ideas, someone else's lifestyle. So that's one thing that I really hate about being a woman in India.
The disparity of male and female gender translates a big role in terms of business. Male are more dominant figure in leading corporations. Male is known not only by its muscles but also its capacity to stand pressure in corporate world of decision making, thus making India a more masculine society in terms of its cultural dimension by Hofstede.
The fourth dimension, uncertainty avoidance, refers to how a culture embraces ambiguity. India has a medium-low preference for avoiding uncertainty. As such, its peoples tolerate and may even thrive with ambiguity in their lives. Examples being encountered every day are discussed in the following two film clips.
Now, when it comes to negotiating with your partner in India, you got to understand what's the reason you're being there primarily. What is your product? And what are you planning to do? Is that a long-term relationship that you're looking for, or is that something for just to get a foothold within the Indian market? So get the priorities straight, and then engage a law firm within India or a multinational company who's got experience with Indian judicial system. That will help a long way in making sure that you have the right understanding and building up a great business relationship with India, and then it's definitely going to be something that a lot of companies have met with success so far.
Deepa, you want to add something? You have been in business world for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I can probably just give some examples of bargaining. Maybe if you're really looking for a job and you're expecting a certain salary, say for example 50,000 rupees is what you're expecting, you should probably quote a higher figure if you want to get something like 50. So you may start off with 65 or 70 when you would land up with something like 50. And the same would probably even apply to if you're selling a product in India. If you know for sure what you're expecting for that product, you may probably want to quote something higher than what you want to get.
Open a path for feedback.
Oftentimes, if there's a problem or a suggestion or an idea, it's never brought forward, it's never brought upward. And so as a manager in India, you want to really reach out to your Indian staff. Tell them everything you want them to do. Be very clear about how you want them to do it. And give them a process for bringing bad news upward to you.
The first clip shows a discussion of how to negotiate in India. There are two slides of a lecture, and the first slide just describes the importance of warm interpersonal relations. The second slide, however, is a very informative glimpse into Indian culture when we want to know how they act in terms of the fourth dimension, that is, in embracing uncertainty and ambiguity. Negotiations will not end with perfect disagreements. In other words, no one says no openly. Haggling and bargaining is a way of life, and that means there is no fixed pricing, valuing, or exact appraising of one's worth or salary. Because of this aspect, decisions take time and seem to go on and on with no fixed adherence to guidelines. The second clip, on the other hand, tells us that ideas are not brought up frankly, and people generally do not want to rock the boat by being too outspoken. Thus, to be successful, a manager has to speak up and tell subordinates what he wants to happen. Feedback has also to be encouraged, because if not, most employees will not say anything.
Long-term orientation in India. India scores high with a score of 61 on the LTO index as compared to the world average, which stands at 48. With a score of 61, India follows a long-term pragmatic culture. The concept of karma dominates religious and philosophical thought. Time is not linear and is not as important as compared to Western societies. India has a great tolerance for religious views from all over the world. Indians have the ability to adapt to traditions and changed conditions, a propensity to save and invest, and prescribe to the values of long-term commitments. This is to support a strong work ethic where long-term rewards are expected as a result of today's hard work. Some LTO illustrations in India. Business families are common, and a majority of Indians have family-run and owned businesses. They are based on the strong foundation of long-term goals and commitments, a mutual trust of relationships, and are generally very successful. Gift giving. The art of gift giving is not considered unethical in India and is an acceptable practice. Arranged marriages. 95% of all Indian marriages are arranged. They stem from the following Indian values: respect to elders, strong family values, perseverance and adaptability, belief in continuing the ancestral lineage. Marriages are an alliance between two families rather than two individuals being the most important. Hinduism and karma. Hinduism is regarded as a philosophy more than a religion. It is an amalgamation of ideas, views and practices and esoteric beliefs. There are many truths and depends on the seeker. Karma means action or deed. It truly means what goes around comes around. Relationships are treasured and even celebrated in India. Annually, relationships between brothers and sisters, husband and wife, etc. are celebrated. Saving and thriftiness. Indians over generations have been brought up to practice saving. It could be saving for their children's education, a home, family weddings, and even for retirement. Families support each other financially, and it is not uncommon to have parents take care of their children even after they become adults. Filial piety. Respect to parents and ancestors is an Indian value since time immemorial. Children are taught to be resilient and have the courage to bounce back after adversities. Accepting hierarchy in the family, even if parents are no longer breadwinners, are still considered decision makers. What does it mean for doing business in India? With the concept of time is not as important as in Western culture and is flexible depending on the situations. Indians typically forgive the lack of punctuality, accepting a changing game plan based on changing reality. They are comfortable accepting the fated path rather than playing to the exact plan. Negotiations. They are custom-oriented and follow a long-term strategy. A trust should be developed first, which may take several meetings. With regards to quality assurance, long-term orientation towards quality, everything rests with one person in charge and relies on effective communication down the line. To sum it up, Indians believe whatever will be with a lot of divine intervention. With this, Jai Ho. Jai Ho!
आजा आजा जिंद शामी आने के तले आजा जरी और नीले आसमाने के तले